Good morning, Chief Meteorologist Bob Jeswald. We are updating. This is live right now. Tornado warning. This is Doppler indicated in Troup County. LaGrange, you should be taking shelter immediately. The storm does have the signature, as we would say it, that there's some rotation with it, and it's lifting north and west of Interstate 85. So LaGrange, right along Highway 29 here in Alabama. West Point, you're okay. It's just to your north and west, but this will continue to lift north and east of this area as well. This is what we call a polygon, this red box, which highlights the county, but in essence, it looks like the actual circulation. We can go to velocity here and show you what's going on, and you can see where we begin to see difference in pixelation between colors. And right in this area right here, there's a little inflow, what we'd see a couplet, or at least some kind of upper level spin, and Doppler indicated it is. We don't have reports or anything just yet. This just popped up. And again, with this particular track cutting across Interstate 85, maybe getting into Big Springs, we're looking at this potentially coming into the areas at least around Thompson Crossroad, at least 9 o'clock, the potential of the same storm surviving at this point. So who's in this area of this track? We'll lift it up a little bit higher. It looks like anywhere from Mountville all the way back to LaGrange. We'll take LaGrange up to about 8:47 this morning, and that will, of course, be in Eastern Time. And that would continue on this track right here. So here we are right now, 10 minutes away from the potential of this being some kind of a damaging threat or a tornado, even though it is Doppler indicated. Should still take it seriously in these areas. So Cannonville, right along Interstate 85 corridor, going into LaGrange. We're talking Troup County here in areas of Georgia, that this could potentially be a tornado on the ground, although it has not been confirmed. But we are seeing the characteristics or dynamics here as it lifts north and east into this direction. So this is a tornado warning that would be putting it into LaGrange at least within the next 10 minutes. So you have 10 minutes to get in your safe spot if you're in the LaGrange area. Getting a little closer so we could see Alabama 29 here. There it is. You got Gabbettville all the way through the areas just to the west of Interstate 85, Cannonville as well too. We look at radial velocity here, and you can see the difference in which the air is moving away from radar and coming into it. This shows us some circulation. That's right here indeed. So let's back out of it a little bit here so you can see Smith's Crossroad. You guys seem to be okay, but LaGrange, it would put you right into that center there. We do have our reporter up there. We do have Mercer Van Shore. She'll keep us updated as well. She's watching the Troup County area for us too if there's anything that would become severe or serious after this point. But as you could see, the nature of this, how the scope of this is starting to develop just now. And as we were just saying, this would be picking up around 8 o'clock. We may even see this continue for the next couple of hours. Meteorologist Cody Nickel has been watching this closely as well. Cody, any word on this particular storm? I know we have severe weather down near Montgomery now, but in the news reviewing area, this has been something we've been watching, especially north around Chambers. Just within the last hour, we've been seeing a lot of circulation with these storms.
That's correct. I first noticed this around Casita, Alabama, near Waverly. It had a little spin with it as it was moving through Chambers County, just south of the Lafayette area. And as it crossed the Alabama-Georgia border there, that's when it started to pick up that rotation. It does have a good couplet on it across right here. You can see just around US 27 around the Gabbettville area. We do have some strong pixels there. Not quite pixel to pixel or gate to gate, but there is some very strong rotation right there just between US 29 and Interstate 85 north of West Point. So if you live between West Point and LaGrange, that's the primary area of concern right now. Mainly if you live south of LaGrange, between LaGrange and Pine Mountain is where this storm track is going to go, around Smith's Crossroad, across US 27 and Georgia 219 there. I'll put another track on it and show you that we could get some of these areas in it. So Big Springs, the community of Knott, Hillier, and Smith's Crossroad are all in the path. You can see this the track takes it up to 9 o'clock, and the warning goes until 9 o'clock. So we do have a 21 minutes left on this warning. You can see it's like I said, it's not gate to gate, but it does indicate that there is some very strong rotation there, and it's really wrapping up on the we go back to reflectivity or our precipitation mode. You can see it does kind of have an appendage, and that is where we'll start to get that tornado to hook around. We have getting some inflow. I'll draw that on the screen. Right here is where we are getting that inflow, and that's where we get the potential for that tornado to start to spin, especially around West Point and up around Gavettville. That's where that area of the tornadic concern is most the threat right there across portions of West Point, Northwest Point, and then the Gavettville area. Going up to just due west of LaGrange. That's where we could get some hail with this as well, but that's not the main concern with this storm because we have a tornado warning right now for Troup County. If you just joined us, it goes until 9 o'clock Saturday morning for the city of LaGrange, Big Springs, Mountville area. And the most area of concern right now is just north of West Point between US 29 and the interstate of 185. So this is going to be north of the Kia plant and just south of LaGrange right now. And I'm going to throw it back to Bob, and he'll have more on this.
You could see the intensity of this rain, too, that's coming down, Cody. We do have a live camera right now up at Pine Mountain. We can show you this. The rain that is coming down on the upper right-hand corner of your screen is quite heavy, too. So it's the torrential rain component to this as well over the course of the next several hours, going into even tonight, into the overnight. You see the wind starting to blow. This is higher up in elevation, of course. So visibility not all that good. And again, we've been seeing heavy rain in a short time, creating some standing water, and poor drainage areas certainly have to deal with some street flooding that is temporary. So as Cody pointed out, right now we're on Troup County. We are tracking what is what we could say a Doppler indicated tornado. We haven't had anything confirmed at this point, but we are seeing the characteristics of what we would see as a tornado perhaps forming. I don't even think at this point I haven't even thought of doing a correlation coefficient. This will help us determine if there's any debris starting to come up. It might be a little bit here. In fact, we're looking at it, but it looks rather sporadic. But if there is anything, it would be, and it's correlating right along where that circulation is right here, right about this area here, and this would be the north, kind of northeast flank of that, coming right to the northwest of Interstate 85. So if you're north of Interstate 85, just south of LaGrange right now, south of Highway 29 in this area, you should begin to take cover for the potential threat of damaging wind. If not that, and as we're pointing out, the fact that there could be some strong wind that's extending out of this, the fact that there could be enough rotation to produce a tornado on the ground. Not confirmed, but again, LaGrange, you can see some thunder that's popping up here just to your west. That's that storm we're tracking now. If you're in LaGrange, you should be getting into your safe spot, most interior section of a home, lowest level of a building is what we'd like to always emphasize with something like this with a tornado warning. Coming up, this would continue right through Interstate 185. We're about maybe 4 minutes away for LaGrange from the circulation of the storm. So LaGrange, you got about 4 minutes before this begins to come into your area. West Point, you're okay, even though the southern portion of this seems to be a little menacing. It's mainly just some thunderstorm and some very heavy rain. So this is all to the north and west of Interstate 85 at this point in Troup County. South portions of Troup County are okay from West Point to the south to Pine Mountain, good. Although we showed you that live picture in Pine Mountain, that rain is extremely heavy. So imagine that trying to travel in this area at the same time. So we're in Georgia. We're looking at Troup County. We're looking at LaGrange. If we could zoom in a little tighter here too, let's give you an idea of what's happening. And we're going to tell you what to do here. Let's kind of go up a little bit, and we'll see that street level as we get up to where that circulation is. And right about in this vicinity, I mean, maybe just go to velocity too, but I think this probably depicts it. It doesn't look too impressive on this scan. But again, there appears to be some kind of rotation through, of course, the radar. Let's show you what we need to do. What do you need to do if you're in this area right now? If you're in Cannonville coming up to LaGrange, here's a couple tips for you to keep you posted. We're on your side. Don't stay in a mobile home, of course, or car. We should be thinking this way all afternoon, especially for tonight into tomorrow, too, from our next couple rounds. Always go to the lowest floor of a building. Many walls between you outside is always the safest bet if you're in these areas. Interior room with no windows, obviously glass could shatter, and that's where a lot of hazards become present. And you can always watch us right here on our news and weather apps at this point. So back to the radar again, meteorologist Cody Nickel keeping an eye on it as well. We got our velocity up here. It looks now, we're just to give a little understanding, where here's LaGrange. We're looking at this to the south wouldn't be anything, but it almost appears to be something that's somewhere right in here, and it's not looking too impressive at this point, but we still have a tornado warning with us. There is some circulation, so even if it's wind damage, and we got to watch for trees that could topple over quite easily as well. So we'll keep an eye on that too. Here's the radar with that, and you can see the thunderstorms just to the north of that too. So anywhere from LaGrange, from Cannonville now in this area, we'll be watching this tornado warning. It has it at the top of the hour expiring, but that's something that we got to keep an eye on. We're about 15 minutes out from that expiration on that. Cody.
Yeah, in addition to this tornado warning that goes until 9 o'clock, we are also watching a strong line of storm stretching back from just to the north of Montgomery, back around Greenville, Alabama. This is the tornado warning for Autauga County has expired across central portions of Alabama, but we do have these severe thunderstorm warnings for Elmore, back to Montgomery County. So that's also what we're watching. This is going to move into the city of Columbus in the next couple of hours. Auburn, you're going to be in the path first. So if you're in Auburn, you need to get prepared that you're going to get some very strong and gusty winds and the potential for a tornado as well. But getting back up to our tornado-warned storm up in Troup County, goes until 9 o'clock. So as Bob said, just under 15 minutes now for this warning until it expires. And the main area is just to the south of LaGrange. We'll zoom back in here for you. You can see it's just crossing, or the area of rotation is just around the Interstate 85. Very broad rotation on this scan. It was a little tighter on previous scans, so not as intense as it was before, but that isn't any indication that a tornado could still be produced by this storm. It has the potential to wrap up. It could be cycling a little bit as it is moving into Troup County. The city of LaGrange is not in the direct path at the moment. It should skirt to the path, but to the south of the city rather, but you should still experience some heavy rain, gusty winds, some intense lightning with it, but lightning isn't a severe criteria, but you can see that it does have a numerous amount of lightning strikes, so it's considered a strong storm. Severe at the moment because it is capable of producing a tornado, and in the path is going to be mainly rural areas of Troup County. The warning does go all the way to the Troup Meriwether County line until 9 o'clock, so Mountville right there on the line is still technically in this warning, and LaGrange is even in this warning, so you do need to be taking your tornado precautions, although the main threat is south of the city. Bob.
Broad circulation, as Cody just pointed out, and that's some good news because that would indicate that this is weakening potentially, but we still take it seriously, and we need to. And you can see right now as it doesn't look so tight and wrapped as we saw earlier. Sometimes these have the capability of doing just that, and they can just reform again, and that's why we're staying on this warning, and that's why I think it's a good time to end this as it continues to move based on the air movement of the storm to about 9 o'clock by the time it exits out of Troup County, if it even continues that far off to the west or east, excuse me. So we're looking at LaGrange right now. Good to be, thinking in a safe spot just to be prepared. Does it reform? It's possible with these. They start to kind of retighten up again, and we can continue to watch it if, in fact, it does go to Meriwether County. So here we are looking at LaGrange close. Very heavy rain, along around 27 right now, and again, we are seeing that circulation, albeit broad on the radar scope. It could still produce some strong winds with this. In fact, there could be some real areas, pockets that could produce some damaging wind, and the fact that it could actually create or spin up a tornado, or a tornado could drop down and become more on the ground versus what we're seeing on radar. Now it's starting to, looks like it's tightening up a little bit from velocity it was in the last scan, and that just tells us right about here where we start watching the inflow and then the outflow. And we look at these two different colors of pixelation where you see the green moving away from radar. I think we're out of Maxwell right now. Cody, is that probably right?
I believe this is Peachtree
City we're getting. Okay, so Peachtree City down. So, okay, coming towards radar, moving away, and you could see that circulation. And it's almost atop of Interstate 85 here in Troup County, and eventually moving towards 185 right through this area here. So kind of in the south portions of LaGrange, and then we'll be watching this area as it continues to move. We're talking about, here it is 49 minutes after the hour, and probably within the next 2 minutes continue on this track. So if we continue on this track, we go to Mountville, and we'll take you all the way back into portions of Meriwether County. We could see Big Springs actually looking at around just 9 o'clock at the top of the hour. Potential of the same storm with circulation potential damaging wind if it does get extended that far. Will it become a severe thunderstorm warning? That's possible too, but we'll keep an eye on this. And as you can see, as it continues to move farther south and into the areas of Meriwether County. It looks like these areas around LaGrange coming up within the next minute or two. You worry about big trees that are weakened limbs, that sort of thing. These are the kind of storms that can certainly add more instability to those trees that have been certainly stressed over the years. And if those snap easily, that can make certainly some hazards there. And that's really a big hazard. Hattiesburg, Mississippi, from the same complex, a storm system, I should say, there was some reports, not confirmed, that one tornado earlier this morning across Hattiesburg, just south of Hattiesburg, perhaps there was 4 fatalities. So we hope that's not the case, pray that it's not the case. But this is the kind of systems that they happen at the worst times in the morning, so being prepared is the best. So again, if you're just joining us, tornado warning again for Troup County. This would be really the northern third of Troup County, and this is all northwest Interstate 85, almost riding right along it, and I would say right about here right now, right my hand is right here, would be the circulation kind of south of LaGrange. But still LaGrange in this area, there's a lot of population here as this continues to ride north and off towards the east. So almost center of this whole polygon right now, Cody, as it continues to ride in this direction. Okay, we look at broad circulation here. It looks like, as I said, it could begin to tighten up a little bit more here. So even though it may not be on the ground or spotted, the radar is indicating that we do have that circulation and warranting this tornado warning. And when you have this, there could still be some good wind damage with this as well, which is also the primary threat of what we're talking about with today's system. We are at 8:51 Eastern Time, right now 7:51 Central, and we continue to watch this tornado warning in Troup County. Cody.
That's right. It does appear like it is losing its strength a little bit. It does look like it has wrapped some rain into that main area of circulation, so the tornado threat could be weakening at the moment and turning into more of a wind threat along the areas right here, just stretching from LaGrange back down around US 27 and then back to 85. This area right there that I have highlighted, the first part of the line, where we could see some damaging wind, 60 mile per hour or greater out of this, as it has appeared to occlude out that tornado, so turning into more like a damaging wind threat. And it is expected to expire here in like 8 minutes, so we're going to stay with you until it expires. But LaGrange is seeing some heavy rainfall at the moment. Some small hail can't be ruled out for the city of LaGrange, but the tornado threat appears to have diminished quite a bit. As you can see, we have very strong outbound velocities, but we don't have very strong inbound velocities, so it appears to have weakened as it has moved up towards the northeast. Now, the main area that saw this potential for a tornado was back around West Point, so the track just north of West Point between US 29 and Interstate 85 is the main area where it could have touched down. Potential for some more damaging winds across Interstate 85, even up around 185. Could have that stretch of strong winds as well around the Big Springs area.
And tornado warning, I think, right now. And we are right now, I just want to let everybody know, talking to our PMB broadcast partner, Dave Arwood, we are live streaming, too, on Q107.3 FM. And we do have another tornado warning.
It's out of the area.
Okay, it's out of the area, but you could...
It's just north of the Montgomery area. We'll show it to you because if you live in the city of Auburn, you need to be watching this storm because this is the most intense storm that's going to impact you in round one. After this line moves in, the threat will diminish, but this area just to the north of Montgomery, actually the northeast of Montgomery, Wetumpka, north of Shorter, in Elmore County around Tallahassee, this is really close to our Maxwell radar, so we could get a very strong velocity couplet, and I'm not really seeing it unless it has to do with this very bright pixel here, but I don't really see any green side of it, so not seeing a circulation with this, but National Weather Service is probably seeing something that we aren't. But getting back up to our Troup County storm, this is the one that's in our viewing area, just south of the LaGrange area, and it's going to expire in 5 minutes. The National Weather Service has said they're not going to issue another tornado because it is losing its strength. It may be issued to a severe thunderstorm warning for the rest of Troup County and into Meriwether. So Greenville, you could still see some very strong gusty winds with this at around 1. LaGrange, still seeing that heavy rain. Kind of looks like it kind of has a hook back on it, but still nothing in the velocity scan that shows any strengthening. More of a wind threat here across Hillier, Smith's Crossroad, back to Ball's Crossroads, and that wind threat's going to go up to Big Springs, Mountville, Stovall, in areas of Troup County. And as I said that, we got a new updated scan. It has looked like it's cycled. That occlusion occurred, and then we got another brief spin. We have some tighter, that's inbound velocities right there, right along the interstate, but this circulation is still very broad as it's moving south of LaGrange.
Cody, can we go real tight? Let's go super tight in this. Let's get on the street level, let everyone know what's going on. And I appreciate everyone in LaGrange. We've got Mercer Van Shore, just letting you guys know. Janet English, a couple of our sky watchers too, that are telling us that they are actually hunkered down in their center part of their house. We appreciate them doing that, and they're giving us some reports. They're not hearing anything just yet as we're live streaming as well. Go back to the velocity again so I can kind of get a handle where this is, because there's a big blob there. Okay, yeah. So we look right about here, LaGrange. If you're in the LaGrange area, that's what we were looking at north. And you can look to the south too, where we're seeing this whole area, which was broad, is becoming a little bit more concentrated, as Cody just pointed out. So we're looking at the air coming in and circulating out. This is continuing in Troup County right now, right in Highway 27 corridor here, and all the way back a bit farther south on the same line. As far as this continuing through 9 o'clock, and here we are 4 minutes away, we continue to see this, and it appears to be, it almost looks like it's slowing down on this last 2 scans here. It was moving along kind of fast, but it could just be because it's so broad, the circulation. So get a little tighter. What else is in this area? Get this tight.
We're not going to have a street level view because Troup County technically is in our county. It belongs to the Atlanta TV market, but we do cover it. So we're not going to have street level detail, but we can get you to the state and U.S. highway road level.
We want to see that, yeah. And as course as that's concerned, but we do have Troup County followers, so we serve you. We don't want to push Atlanta. We're on you. So, but 27, there's 219 River Road, and there's Interstate 85. We also have Phil Scoggins, who's he's just doing a little morning route here, and he's keeping an eye on that too. He's far off to the east, so he's good. Letting him know, and I told you Mercer Van Shore is also keeping us updated as well if she hears or sees anything. So as Cody pointed out, and you could see by this is just showing us air movement. We look at velocity.
Tornado warning is going to be expired
at 9 o'clock. That makes sense. So what we're going to do is
replace with the severe thunderstorm warning.
Okay. So the severe thunderstorm warning, as we said earlier, this will probably be a severe thunderstorm. Let's broaden it out and show you who's going to be impacted by the severe thunderstorm warning. It continues. There's a new polygon then. That's going to continue farther north now, getting into extreme northwest Meriwether County, Hogansville, Hillcrest, these areas here, all northwest of Greenville, and eventually probably extending all the way out to Highway 27 in Meriwether County. So Phil Scoggins is kind of keeping us updated through here. Just be mindful of that as we keep you updated. So I would probably get to a safe spot. Anybody traveling on these roads here, wait for the storm to pass. It's moving rather quickly. In fact, that polygon, if you could extend it from where the actual circulation is, probably center of that, right about here, a third in that polygon, a quarter of the polygon, Cody, yeah. Pull it out. Let's just see how fast it's moving through this area here.
This is set to 40 miles per hour.
40 miles an hour.
That's
okay,
what the warning was. Had the movement on.
Gotcha. So Luthersville could be potential damaging wind, and even though it's a severe thunderstorm warning, you could still have circulation, and you could still have a possible tornado with that, just so you understand that. Indeed, let's see who's contacting us here as well. Okay, so that's just an update on the tornado warning expiring. Okay, so as it continues up through Lutherville, that's where we're at. So I think at this point, what we'll do is anything going back, let's show you across Alabama. Let's just see what's going on with that tornado warning.
They just issued another tornado warning for Elmore County.
Okay, so that's getting active. So what we need to be watching out for this is our friends in East Central Alabama now. Now, Cody's doing a good job on handling this one here. Cody, from Dadeville, Waverly to Auburn, Notasulga, Tuskegee should really be keeping a watchful eye through this area. This is becoming more active. It is lifting north and east. So residents that would be around, obviously, Tallahassee, all northwest of Interstate 85, Notasulga, and in possibly northwest areas of Lee County, and then eventually into southern Chambers County, need to be keeping a watchful eye. What are you hearing right now, Chad?
BMX is going observed on one of the Elmore tornado warnings.
Okay. Well,
I'll find out which one they're talking about.
Okay, so we'll stay off. If you're in LaGrange right now, we're looking good as far as that tornado warning expiring.
It's going to be the bottom one that they see confirmation on the ground.
Great, perfect. Okay, so that's what we'll be doing. So this is what we're going to be focused on right now. In fact, before I was saying, let's kind of let's get off the air here. Let's stay on for a minute because I still think this is worth watching, especially for our friends here in East Central Alabama. Auburn, just tighten up. Have a little plan. Not saying this is going to continue that far off. There's still some time. But you could see the wind on this, on that latest sweep, my gosh. So there's a lot of, and we'll probably get a little tighter on that one there. But from Tallahassee, these areas here are coming into extreme northwest portions of Macon County. I would be just on the lookout right now. You're not under the warning, but it's coming pretty darn close at the rate that it's coming in. Level 2 radar looks kind of fragmented here, but it does give us a good idea to see maybe where we could see this return here, where there's some good enhanced returns with some very heavy rain in the northeast part of this and some circulation with this as well. Any luck on that velocity on that one besides the fact that it was, there we go. Yeah, kind of right about in this area here. So it's kind of the more south central portion, but worth noting that there's, albeit it might be small and tight, this is something we got to watch. So I think even the Tallahassee area would be somebody to keep a watchful eye on in that area, all south of 14. And again, this is all well northwest of 85. And it would continue on this track, this same complex of storms. It just bears watching for those over in western Lee County and those in northwest Macon counties. And that will bring it back over to Cody.
I do have an update.
See what you got there.
This is from my dad who works at Kia. He says the cafe doors were blown open and some of the ceiling tiles have fallen out because of that strong gusty winds that moved into the Troup County area.
Okay, we got another warning here.
It's going to be in tornado watch.
Tornado watch is extended.
It's going to be another tornado watch going until 3 o'clock today. A couple tornadoes possible and the threat for damaging gusts up to 70 miles per hour. We'll show you that as soon as it is loaded into our system. It's going to take it a while for the new information to update, but that should include all of central and southwest Georgia, so the remaining portions of, I would imagine the whole Chattahoochee Valley would be in this. Don't have a picture to show you right now of who is in and who is out of the tornado watch right now, but we are watching several storms. The one in Troup County, like I said, produced some damage up at Kia, just blowing some roof tiles out and some doors open in the cafeteria area. But this storm right here around Elmore County is what we're watching to affect Tallapoosa County and then potentially affect Lee County in the next couple of minutes, from 30 minutes to maybe the next hour or so. It's moving at about 35 miles per hour, so not fast in movement rather, but it still can produce a tornado in the Lee County area as this continues to move up towards the north here. So we're going to continue to watch that.
Okay, Cody, I have some damage to show you, just as you were just talking about.
All right.
Our director, Drew Plata, did a good job here trying to pick us up on this. We got some video here from his social media account. You could see the winds, and I'm assuming, Drew, this is Mercer Van Shore. Okay, our own Mercer Van Shore. Thank you, Mercer, giving us a picture of what's going on. This was just shot moments ago, Mercer put on. You could see in Troup County, and you could see the heavy rain coming down, and she did show us certainly the sky, how menacing it looks. But the good news is I don't think we have any major damage, although what we heard over in the Kia plant, we get around West Point, and it was even so far south. So that just shows you the dynamics of the system. It's the wind with this. So that's why this poses that big risk. Even though that wasn't where the tornado warning was, we were watching those areas south that actually had a significant wind enough to blow those doors open, as Cody Nichols' dad was reporting up there in West Point. So Tallahassee and the tornado warning that's kind of nudging a little bit northwest of this, we are all under a tornado watch now across west central Georgia and east central Alabama, just to let everybody know. So we're beginning to see the genesis of the system as we're talking about. It's starting to really build now. It's a few hours later, but hey, that gave you some sleep hopefully. and now it begins from at least the next couple of hours. We're thinking we're going to continue to see this. So although some of our viewers here across East Central Alabama may be watching Dadeville areas, Tallahassee area, are the ones that need to be watching. Tuskegee, you're fine if you're Macon County, but if you're in Lee County's western portions and the southwest portion of Chambers, we want to keep a watchful eye on that. Cody's got some good information here. Keep me updated here, Cody. What's going on?
This just came across. There's 3 tornado debris signatures on this cell right here in Elmore County. So 3 tornado debris signatures. We're going to try and find them because this has the potential to move into parts of Tallapoosa County and western portions of Lee County right now. So we're going to switch it to correlation coefficient. And I don't really maybe one. I see maybe one tornado debris signature that I can tell just spotting it right here. I don't know.
Even hail. What about the hail core? You slap on a hail thing to see what we got. They're talking about hail just under 3/4 of an inch, too.
Yeah,
these are kind of
mainly south around Montgomery is where the hail is picking up.
Okay.
But I don't really see any tornado debris signatures on
not
our software.
Yeah.
They have more sensitive, higher resolution.
Yeah, they pay for that, or they have that. So it's a tough.
But they're going with 3
to
tornado debris signatures across Elmore County, and that's where this basically I would call it the comma head of the storm. This is where we have the main area is rotating, and you have that strong, straight line damaging wind stretching from the main area in Elmore County back to around Montgomery. That's where that strong wind is concerned. Now, one area that I do see is just between Wetumpka and Tallahassee. That's the main area that I see of this storm in Elmore County.
How tight can we get? How about we?
Actually, now it's more between Eclectic and Tallahassee.
Yeah,
so
it looks like they're overlapping there. Yeah, it's got a little bit of a polygon overlap. It's kind of confusing here. Quick updates here. Troup County, you're good. We got people that are asking and responding on that. You guys are all safe in Troup County right now, so just kind of let your mind go at ease. No reports of any significant damage over at that Kia plant. Just some doors were blown, and that was for some winds that were farther south from the actual warning area. This shows you the strength of these storms. They have a lot of energy.
Let's get you to the new tornado watch. It does include the entire Chattahoochee Valley. There we go. You can see our Alabama counties go until 11 o'clock Central Time today. Mainly our Georgia counties, or all of our Georgia counties, go until 3 o'clock this afternoon. So a tornado watch means conditions are favorable for tornado development. And as you have seen, rather, we did have a tornado warning earlier across Troup County, so we do have those conditions out there for that development.
Okay, back to the radar over in Alabama here, and we are still watching these storms, which are pretty significant. You see, as we just said, we have some definite signatures. We're having a tough time seeing any debris, but according to the Birmingham, the BMX is reporting that they are seeing some correlation coefficient that's on there too. And that would mean that they're actually seeing some debris with this. So taking it quite seriously, this one that is just now near northwest of Tallahassee and south of Eclectic, and it is kind of in between what we call these tornado polygons that take it all the way up, potentially up to Camp Hill. That would also take it into areas perhaps clipping northwest portions of Lee County and then eventually Chambers. Dadeville could be in that and the very extended. But right now, what we're looking at is this area right down through here, and not affecting or impacting the news viewing area directly, but we have a big interest here in East Central Alabama, what's going on with this particular tornado warning at this time, which does have it in Elmore County, and then eventually we'll keep a watchful eye. Our concern would be what's happening with this as it continues to generate that energy and lift north and eastward, northwest of Interstate 85, which most of these have been happening now this morning in East Central Alabama. So this would go to about 8:30 Central Time for East Central Alabama viewers. If you're just joining us, we have a tornado warning in Elmore County. Nothing in Georgia right now. That's the good news. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning, though, going into areas of northwest Meriwether County, exiting out of Troup County as we speak, but there is no tornado warning there. But the tornado warning that we're looking at here, with possibly confirmation from the National Weather Service office in Birmingham, seeing on their returns that there could be some debris with this, and we're having a tough time trying to decipher that at this point. But again, there's more eyeballs on the storm system. If that's the case, and it continues to be in the Tallahassee area. And again, eventually we're watching just the genesis of the system continuing to develop as it weakens, as it strengthens, if it does come in our viewing area into western Alabama. That line that goes all the way down through shorter now is producing some strong winds. I can assure you that just looking on radar. And you can see what we begin to see these kind of bowing out a little bit like this. Interesting to see this little kink down here, West Interstate 65. We'll keep an eye on that. We had a tornado warning out of the Mobile office in the last half hour, 45 minutes, so that's worth noting. But looking at the Air Force Base radar here in east central Alabama, you could see where Cody is highlighting this, the wind threat potential with this track coming up. Now, who could be impacted? The other risk of this is wind. Could be Valley, Auburn, and Tuskegee. Even though you see the tornado warning would be just well off to your northwest, and at this point, we still have the hazard of wind. And this kind of wind with this as it exceeds quickly and lifts towards the northeast, and I'm assuming, Cody, putting in Auburn about 53 minutes, about 40 miles an hour. Is this baby moving or more?
I clocked it at 35 just because
35,
that's
okay.
what the movement of the northern half of this storm is. So I just went along with the whole line moving it.
Okay.
So it could vary between 35 and 40.
Okay, good. So that's what we're looking at. So this, as it continues to live north and east, we're in Auburn, Tuskegee Valley. There's a potential threat of seeing wind gusts that could create some minimal damage, branches on trees, that sort of thing. We are concerned about that. And because it's such a broad scale and it's such a wide area that we're talking about in east central Alabama, which would include areas of Lee, Macon, and areas of Bullock counties. So tornado warning, Elmore County, that continues here at least another 20 minutes or so in Central Time, and we'll get a little closer look at that. And it's kind of between eclectic, but really in the Elmore County area, there's Tallahassee, and it is lifting north and east rapidly. We look at what this is called a debris signature, kind of piece of software. We call it correlation coefficient, kind of fancy word. And maybe it's starting to pick up something here, Cody, a little bit. It's kind of odd how it's in 3 steps here, but as it spins around, could it be something like right in here? Possibly. Areas here could pick up debris such as tree limbs, that sort of thing. It could be all kinds of little stuff that's picking up in the atmosphere. Some hail has been indicated south of this area too, less than 1/4 of an inch, and that's about all we've been seeing close to the news reviewing area. As far as West Point going up near LaGrange, that severe thunderstorm warning is really, that system is actually coming out of Troup County into northwest Meriwether County. So again, we're not focused on that right now, but Mercer Van Shore has showed us that nothing more than some strong winds, but he hasn't seen any damage. We did. Go ahead, and
I
we're
would
looking
say
at
our hail data is kind of old.
It is, and you see how it's trailing behind.
Yeah.
It's kind of odd. So we got to keep an eye on that. Technology is always great, but it takes the eye of a meteorologist. Picked it up. Good work, Cody. So
this storm is still looks like it's really wrapped up,
Yeah.
but no sign of producing a tornado.
okay, so what we need, and that's good.
That is-
But
that's
with a
good news.
warning, though, severe thunderstorm warning, you could still have tornadoes. Always realize that when we have any kind of severe thunderstorm warning in this situation, they can always, even though they are rotating, that's what they are, rotating storms, although they're not necessarily hitting the ground, which then therefore would make it a tornado, it does create the potential risk of some damaging winds with it. But as it's spinning like that, winds in that direct path across northwest Meriwether County would be impacted. This would be north and west of Greenville from up here in Meriwether County. But through east central Alabama, the tornado warning in Elmore has us looking at this, and at the tail end of it, where it's bowing out here with some lightning thunderstorms around Tuskegee. We would even give it into the Auburn area, as Cody was tracking just moments ago, south of Union Springs, could very easily in this area, you know, you get out of Macon County, Bullock counties, Pike County, seems like it's weakening a little bit. There's certainly that risk of some winds that could create some minor damage. And this whole track here, so if we were to even extend it, this whole line is what we're going to do now. This track is merely showing us how much longer will it be before we even see more winds and maybe some thunderstorms. We'll take it even as far to Valley up north to about 9:16 Central. Then we'll go to Easter time in Columbus, Phoenix City. We'll put you about just before the 11 o'clock hour. So that's kind of what we were anticipating anywhere. A lot of this will be coming in the area, peaking at 11 o'clock. And the threat with this line, at this point, there's no warnings with it, no tornadoes with it that we're expecting, but there's that risk of some winds that could be significant enough under severe criteria that could still cause some minimal damage, Cody. And you're analyzing that pretty much. Interesting that I'm looking at that, how it's lagging like that. I don't understand why that's doing that on the crazy hail core thing. So anyway, we have to keep an eye on that, and we'll keep an eye on it. Maybe it's got to be something with the Weather Service. But anyway, but the main thing is, and we like to look at it as meteorologists, we like to see if these things, where they're producing hail, we get a kind of understanding. you know, these thunderstorms, how they're beginning to build. They're pretty intense even at this hour. So the tornado warning in Elmore County is lifting north and east. You can see it right about here. You can see the polygon kind of clipping both counties here. It looks confusing to the viewer, but for us, we can kind of see northwest of just to the north and west of Tallahassee coming across this area. It has it expiring now, coming out of the area around 8:30 Central Time. But at this case, as this continues on this track and is lifting north and east, it does put Waverly, Notasulga. It gets these areas here, western Lee County. Just a little pause for keep an eye out over the next, at least, let's say, 25 minutes to 30 minutes. I'd say 30 minutes to be exact, about it, next half hour for western Lee County for this particular storm that has a tornado warning. Doesn't mean it's going to be one here, but we're going to keep an eye on it anyway. And south of that, all the way down to Shorter, as it continues, this whole line advances eastward, has that capability of producing some local winds gusting up to 40 to 45 miles an hour. And you can see on the velocity, too. Very sharp edge there. And definitely that would give us an idea from Fitzpatrick, just west of Fort Davis, Tuskegee, that there's definitely some good wind gusts associated with this, as most people are reporting this morning, even on social media. So the tornado warning not impacting east central Alabama first alert weather viewers now, but we are watching this storm as it continues to advance. Will become severe in western Lee County, will clip northwest Macon counties, something to watch, but again, all northwest of Interstate 85 at this point. And we'll watch the wind threat farther south of that, Cody.
And that's right, and we don't really have any word if this is going to be extended into southern portions of Tallapoosa County there around like the Boot Hill, or into western portions of Lee County to include Auburn. If it is extended, we'll continue our coverage. If not, we'll probably drop off and continue to track this behind the scenes as it continues to lift up towards the northeast, because it still poses a severe weather threat to the Chattahoochee Valley and the city of Auburn. So Shorter, heavy rainfall through Shorter and Fitzpatrick, across Barber and Macon County. Tallahassee seeing some very strong rain at the moment. And let's try and find this area of circulation that we are most concerned about, mainly just to the west there of Tallahassee. And there's another area of concern just around where Alabama 14 meets Alabama 229. So there's several areas of rotation in here, and that's what we're going to continue to watch, because this can move into areas like Notasulga, Lochapoka, even Auburn here if this gets extended, which we are still waiting to hear back from our National Weather Service partners and see if that is going to be extended. If not, we will continue to track this, but as of right now, there's no word on if they're going to expire it or extend it into Tallapoosa and Lee County.
Yeah, I think at this point, just so we can kind of regroup a little bit, folks, you know, we're, of course, anytime we're going to be cutting in, we're on Q107.3 FM. We're at WRBL.com live streaming. We'll be back. We're going to watch this. Once this gets even closer, begins to become a threat, an actual threat to Macon and Lee counties, we're going to pop back on. It's a good chance we may just do that. But I think at this point, we're just more or less just repeating the same thing over the next 20, 30 minutes. So we're going to keep an eye on that, and we're taking it quite seriously on the middle of this storm and see if this does become extended past Alabama 49, Highway 49. And certainly we're watching for the risk of some, of course, some strong winds as well. So we're online and on social. We're right here, and we'll be back when it's necessary to provide you with the latest information. First Alert Weather Team signing off just for now. And we'll be updating you with the latest weather on CBS This Morning. And welcome. This is Chief Meteorologist Bob Jeswald. You're looking at, of course, radar, as we just told you. CBS this morning just gave you the latest updates, and we're back, as we said. We did tell you I was concerned about western Lee County. This puts the polygon, a tornado warning, just to the west of Auburn now. Notasulga's in it, as we said. Tallahassee on the western edge, and Dadeville. These areas here. There's 3 areas of rotation right along this line with potential tornadoes. They're all Doppler indicated. Nothing has been confirmed. But again, the concern is we're getting into more populated areas. So if you're in Auburn, Waverly, Notasulga, Dadeville, these are the areas that we have to be most concerned about right now. So again, this continues to lift north and east of these areas too. At this point too, I was just going to ask, and I always forget, could you give Q, make sure Q107 is on. There we go. And we're live streaming on that and making sure we're keeping everyone updated. You could see this is our velocity. Here's the 3 areas that we're looking at. Possible rotation here on radar. This is just north and east of eclectic now. Tallahassee, here's number 1, there's number 2, and number 3, just it looks like maybe even south of Tallahassee right there, maybe almost 4. I mean, my gosh, this is crazy because we are seeing rotation right along that whole line, that axis. So that is why Waverly, it's such a broad area. This tornado warning is continuing out this way. A lot of winds are kind of preceding this, and then it appears to be some rotation right along that line. So we're going to be watching that. That extends it. Now, Auburn doesn't mean you have to get in your safe spot just yet, but you should be thinking about it, okay? I don't want you to panic and make your whole morning crazy here. But if you're in Auburn and Opelika, you're just out of the area, you're in the extreme northeast part of this. So this is still a distance away, but it's just being mindful if you're in Waverly and Auburn to just kind of think of a safe spot. This is moving quickly, but if you're in Notasulga, I would say the contrary, in Dadeville, up in these areas here, to do just that. You should be taking a safe spot right now, where right along this whole line there's a potential, and we say it's radar indicated, and that means that there could be a possibility of tornadoes coming out of this, albeit it has not been confirmed just yet. So these are the areas that we're looking at, and it extends as far east as Auburn and Waverly. So these are the areas we want everyone to be concerned about. So if you're in Auburn, you hear sirens in Lee County. This is really still well off to the west of you in Lee County, but it is expected the same line of storms to come through with the potential risk of seeing tornadoes. And they appear to be weak on the radar, but they're beginning to wrap around a little bit, and there's still rotation with it, but nothing that seems to have been down at the surface or confirmed just yet. So seeing a lot of this morning, Cody, is these Doppler indicated, but nothing that has been substantiated, although there's been some damage earlier from these storms, so we do know that these storms are bringing enough winds to crank out some broken branches on tree limbs locally in Lee County. We had reports, and up in Troup County as well, and some trees too.
That's correct. We do continue that tornado warning primarily for, I would say, the most southern portion of that area of rotation, just around the Notasulga area. It's right over the radar, so we're not getting a good representation of what it is doing on the ground. But this tornado warning is very large because there are so many areas for brief spin-ups along this line, and that is why the tornado warning encompasses almost all of Tallapoosa County, the western portion of Lee County, the northern portion of Macon County, just because this line, anywhere along this, you can get a brief spin-up along it, and a brief tornado can produce some damage, and that is why we're on the air right now, because this area just between Tallahassee and Notasulga is our main area of concern that will move into Lee County. That's the main area. These other areas up around just north of Eclectic, just to the southeast of Rockford, Alabama, that could potentially move up into Chambers County, but we'll go to those once it gets into Chambers County and it has that severity still left on it. But if you were in Waverly, Auburn technically not included in this warning, but you could still see the potential for this to move up into Lee County and produce a brief spin-up in western portions of Lee County around Lochapoka, south of Waverly, rural portions of Lee County. So this is nothing to shed lightly. This is a tornado warning, so you should take it seriously because we are expecting multiple rounds of severe weather. This is just round 1, and we have 2 more to go with this system. And I'll throw it to Bob. He'll have the... Actually, I'm going to keep talking here. Let's see. The tornado warning for Macon and Lee County goes until 9:15 Central Time. So Notasulga, Auburn, like I said, the main area in the line. We'll put a track on it, and then I will throw it to you.
Sure. Thanks for doing that. And at the same time he's doing this, what makes this kind of frustrating in a way is that we do have multiple areas of rotation along this line. So the one in particular Cody is focused on right here, and this one just northwest of Notasulga, which why it has Auburn in the path is because that's the direction in which this particular storm is actually moving. Does it mean it'll be a tornado? We don't know. Okay, at this point we don't know, but it is Doppler indicated, and that still makes it that you have to take precautionary measures. We're not necessarily seeing the strength of these as it was once forecasted, but you got to take each one seriously, because if it does drop down, that's how these behave. You can have them pull back up into the clouds as funnel and then hitting the ground, becoming tornadic, and then at the time you get damaged. And not to even mention, there is certainly the potential risk of seeing some of these producing some gusty winds. Now, as we continue to wait for this, we're going to get closer to our areas in western Lee County. We are live right now with Mercer Van Shore. At the bottom screen here, this is Mercer right now. We have her live. She's showing us some of the tree limbs out here. And when that wind did come through, we didn't have a confirmed tornado, and it did become severe thunderstorm, but there were some gusty winds. She's showing some of the tree limbs that were weak and kind of broke off here. And this is up in the areas outside of LaGrange that she's showing us right now. And again, this is probably the most damage we've probably seen physically, although we've had reports of some trees that have been actually down, and likely because they've been so weakened, and it doesn't take much wind to knock them over or topple them over. But with the extent of what we saw on that radar, as Mercer's showing you live right now, we're seeing tree limbs that have snapped a little bit up to the north, and these certainly are going to be the biggest hazard. Mercer, I don't know if you can hear me okay? Yeah, go ahead, Mercer. Tell us what you're seeing instead of having me going on and on here. What are you seeing?
Thanks for timing. And here in Troup County, we woke up to sirens. So it's very scary. I've been sharing your live post, so thank you for live streaming, because it's very scary this morning. I went outside because I hear sirens, and I think that's why everybody's kind of freaked out right now, because I heard sirens. I live off of 109. This is West Point Lake in my backyard, and a lot of us had a lot of flooding in the front yards and the backyards, and I know that sirens are really freaking us out right now.
Okay, let me comfort you. Nothing to be concerned about now. A lot of times when they trip that, whether it is your emergency alert system part of that or the areas over in your public information office there, it's already gone, the main risk of that, but there's certainly more heavy rain with it. So your primary risk is over, Mercer, which is good news for you right at this point, but we still got more weather coming up this weekend, and again, more energy behind this that could still bring in some heavy rain. Mercer, you did point out that heavy rain. It was pretty torrential is what you're saying. Was that the primary threat that you saw up there in the gusty winds?
Yes, we woke up to the sirens, then we knew it was a tornado warning, and then there was a lot of lightning, a lot of thunder, and lots of rain. And now the rain is starting to pick up a little bit. So I'm going to kind of pan up a little bit. We've got a lot of trees in our yards, and so, you know, we have all of my friends on Facebook, they're sharing pictures. I'm going to share them with you guys. We're seeing a lot of rain this morning, a lot of ponding. They were saying that a lot of people were saying that there's a lot of lakes in their front yards, more than West Point Lake. They bring down the lake, West Point Lake, in the winter. But because of all this warm weather, I mean, we are seeing a lot of rain and scary weather this morning.
That's the problem. You're right. And you pointed out the other risk that we've been talking about with this system. Even though we're looking at the severe thunderstorm and a tornado aspect of this, it's been really the very heavy rain in a short time. We didn't have anything in Columbus this morning. It was at 4:57 when the watch was issued in east central Alabama first. And when that came about, it was just less than an hour after that. We had rain that was lifting well ahead of the actual system that we were most concerned about. It dumped so much rain in a short time. Right along 13th Street and Avenue, it was just literally standing water, enough to make cars hydroplane. And as you just pointed out, some quick lakes being conjured up based on some poor drainage in many of these areas across, as you are in Troup County. Any tree branches? You can see it looks like an interesting rain gauge there. Certainly, measure that for us, Mercer. It's not official rain gauge, but you could see certainly she's got a lot of rain that is collected in there, and it tells us, you know, you're getting inch on top of that, and that's what we have to worry about. That other aspect to this systems that are going to come in. We got another one at midnight, another wave of energy coming in from midnight till early morning, maybe midnight to 4 in the morning, and the rest of the First Alert Weather Team will be covering that extensively. But going back to, and hang with us, Mercer, if you can for a moment. Cody's good. We're going to update back on radar as we get the more updated information here as it gets closer to our friends in Lee County and Macon counties. We're looking at extreme northwest Macon County. We're looking at what's called correlation coefficient. This is a debris type return or signature with the radar feature, and it appears, it looks like there could be some debris. So are we beginning to see the makings of a tornado on the ground, Cody?
Well, NWS is saying a TDS, tornado debris signature, just north of the Maxwell Air Force Base radar along Alabama 49. So that's going to be just right around, you could see Alabama 49 comes in from Tallapoosa County. So probably right at the Tallapoosa-Macon County line is where where they are seeing this tornado debris signature. Can't really find it on our system. It looks a little disjointed here, some areas, because it's so close to the radar. So we will, I'll try and find that for you, but let's get back to the velocity.
Yeah, I think velocity is our best friend right about now. So here we are in Notasulga and Lochapoka, as Cody's pointing out. Get the radar kind of featured, situated here. Definitely there's winds associated with this whole thing. We're talking Elmore, Lee, Macon, Tallapoosa counties, and this is extreme western, where if you're in Auburn, you're okay right now, but it is headed in your direction. Auburn is, as you can see, is right here. It's on the extreme outer fringes of what we call this polygon, or the tornado warning track, and in this particular case, it's not there yet, and it's not even in areas of Lochapoka, but if you're in this area, we need to be certainly thinking about perhaps even a safe spot at this time. So we begin to look at this lifted kind of north and a little bit off towards the east a bit, and certainly very heavy rain, as Mercer Van Shore was telling us earlier. This is around the whole two-state area. She's in Troup County talking about heavy rain she's seen and more, and you can see that in the bottom right part of your screen. A live picture from the Phoenix City Amphitheater camera, as the lens earlier was totally obstructed when we had the rain coming in. We'll call it what it was torrential rain, and now it's just kind of dismal. It looks like somebody's down there trying to get down by the river, so we got to be careful down there as well. There's going to be more lightning coming in the area. But
maybe
again,
our Auburn camera, we can.
Yeah, we'll try to
rain
situate.
coming in.
Yeah, let's see if we get the Auburn camera so we could start setting up. And thank you, Cody. We'll get up to Auburn, maybe even Jordan-Hare Stadium too. Either one depicts the best. I think, in fact, we got to look kind of west. So maybe even our Jordan-Hare, we can swing our camera, exclusive camera, that off to the west a little bit there as we get situated. So not much on the velocity here right now, but we are looking at, they're saying a tornado debris signature. So BMX, it's Birmingham, Alabama, National Weather Service has some software that's cleaning this up. Now, for us with the naked eye here, having a tough time, and even with velocity looks more like a wind event.
I want to say it may be right there.
There, but what's down here too? It looks like there's two, but maybe I'm wrong. And okay, and you can see Jordan here right now up at the part of our screen here. So what we're seeing now up in this area, you guys in Auburn are okay at this point. So no need to panic, but just be prepared as this storm system continues to move your way. But you should have a safe spot. But as Cody are pointing out, it's almost central in that polygon, but even southern portions of it, and they're only focused on one tornado debris potential, but it's real hard to discern.
Yeah, they just said they may go tornado warning all the way to the Alabama-Georgia border here.
Okay, so that would make sense. So
because it's very difficult to pinpoint which one is a spin-up tornado and which one isn't based upon the velocity returns.
So being prudent, the National Weather Service Office, and that makes complete sense. So that would be northwest of Interstate 85. This would include Dadeville. Now, to give you a quick synopsis why this is happening, we're having, with this type of particular storm that's coming in, there's some various areas of circulation along what we say an axis or this line, and that includes everywhere in this red box. So if you're hearing sirens going off in Lee County, that will likely continue and clip. It should keep Smith Station completely out of it. So if you're in Smith, folks are wondering now, but that would likely bring it into West Point, Valley, Lafayette, and all the way down through Auburn to Waverly, and that will continue on that track. As Cody pointed out, they may take it and at that point see what Peachtree City will do with it, but it'll likely take it to the Alabama-Georgia line. Sounds like a country band. Anyway, new band. But this is what we're looking at, so this is going to continue in this line. Frustration part of this, folks, is that we got to keep an eye on. We're going to watch and see is once we can pick up something circulating on us, we're seeing it with real good distinction. It's so broad we're having a tough time with that too. So anyway, that's
we're starting to get this south of the tornado area. You can start to see it bowing out. So we're going to get some strong
winds, yeah.
outflow winds coming to the surface, especially coming into the boot hill of Lee County, even parts of western Russell County. So Hurtsboro, parts of Crawford, on the stretch of US 80 there between Macon County, Lee County, and then back into Russell County. Get ready for some very strong gusty winds. In addition to the tornado threat to the north, you're going to be experiencing that straight line wind threat.
Okay, and it's good. Cody, thanks for that. Could you give us let's go ahead and pull out a good track on that then while he's doing that. And hats off to Cody. He's running a chat with the National Weather Service. He's driving us. He loves this stuff, so we appreciate that. He's doing a good job multitasking over here and making us look good. So from Waverly to Auburn, all the way back down, this distinct line, as Cody's pointing out, the Union Springs. So we're going all the way to Bullock County. We're getting into Macon County and into western parts of Lee County. Despite the fact, even though this tornado warning is north and west into the Auburn area, south of this whole line, from Auburn south, is what we're looking at with the threat of some damaging wind. And I'll tell you something, when it's this broad, it's a big area, something's going to get caught or hooked or a tree toppling over, so I'd be real mindful of this. And this has been, hey, this has been the top of the line with this whole weather aware day things that we've been talking about, is wind was going to be the primary threat with this. And again, that's certainly the case when you see it, as he just pointed out, when we get radar bowing out like this. This is certainly an incredibly long line, and with that, continuing along this track would put Crawford, Hurtsboro, Fort Benning, Columbus, and all the way back up into Harris County, Fortson, perhaps Midland, and into Waverly Hall. And that's extreme west, but be
Here
prepared.
comes the new warning that goes all the way to the state line.
That's what you were just talking about. So on the tornado warning continues state line, so you're going to hear sirens kind of going off again. Okay, the frustration for our friend Mercer. Mercer will probably be hearing those sirens going off in Troup County if it continues beyond that point with this. So two components to this, and there goes our radios going off now. But you see the polygon here. This is this red here. This area here, as it lists north and east of West Point Valley, Lafayette, Auburn, Dadeville, all the way to Nottasulga. It continues north and east. This is the tornado warning component. It's still the same line which we feel, regardless if it's a tornado or not, that we cannot discern quite easily right now on the software, but we can tell you that there's the threat of damaging wind coming into Auburn. Now, Nottasulga's past you, but if you're in Auburn and Opelika, if you're in Lafayette, just to the east of Dadeville, coming into West Point and Valley, all the way to the Georgia line here, right now, start thinking about, okay, I got this big tree next to my house, or I got this. Get to a safe spot somewhere where you know is the most interior section of a home. That's the best thing to do with these, tornado or not. The threat of winds, because it's such a broad scale, even south of Auburn, going all the way down to Union Springs into areas around Bullock County, outside of Macon counties in Alabama, could certainly see the potential risk of some damaging winds, which we even extended that line, as Cody was tracking, into Columbus, maybe as far east into Harris County, into Pine Mountain, Waverly Hall, just to the west Interstate 185, could bring in some threat of some damaging winds with this setup, because it's such an entirely long line here. So a pretty impressive line, a very interesting kind of odd setup perhaps, but then again, you could get all these kind of makings in a system like this, because it's just an area, big area, low pressure out towards the west. And that's going to kick out of here, and then there's another one coming in later tonight and tomorrow. So once this passes, and you want to know times, it's 9:43 Eastern, 8:43 Central right now. We are likely at least into this till at least, let's say, midday. For East Central Alabama, once this line comes through, you'll be out of it. But for Georgia, it could continue to midday or a little after. And then we get a break this afternoon, and then we'll be watching later tonight. And meteorologist Carmen Rose will be keeping you updated, and meteorologist Kurt Schmitz coming up at midnight or so, because we're going to watch that second round. Needs to be watched. You can't get complacent with these things, because they almost have like a little mind of their own. So we're looking at some areas of circulation right along this line. And the area of circulation that's in here is actually some possible rotation of tornadoes, and we haven't yet been able to discern, but what the Weather Service in Birmingham was able to see with different technology, they actually have similar technology we have, but they have a way to clean it up. It's showing debris signatures, and we're having trouble seeing that. but we are seeing the fact that we know there's a strong line here with it bowing out and perhaps bringing in some gusty, damaging winds that continues through the Georgia line, and even beyond, I'd say, which when Peachtree City will kind of jump on that. Okay, let's get back into some of the circulation here. This is outside of Little Texas. There's Highway 80 coming in to areas of Russell County and Lee counties now, so that's something we need to watch. And we'll take it from this line here. So there is some rotation here we're beginning to see on velocity, even a little weak rotation to the south of that too, coming along Alabama at 51. So there's Beauregard. When this continues on this line, this would come into southern portions of Lee County. So even though we're coming into these areas, you need to keep a watchful eye on that too. So this is Macon County, extreme northwest of Macon County. There's the areas of what we call Little Texas. That is an area there, and our friends there had just seen some strong gusty winds in a potential area of a tornado. We have not had anything spotted on the ground, albeit they did see some debris earlier when it was more in western Macon County. And now as it advances eastward, and we're concerned about Beauregard. If you're there, I would take a safe spot. Crawford, I would start thinking in your mind, where can I go? Get in, hunker in your safe spot, because this whole line is coming your way. In two little areas along this line with some weak spin-up rotation, we see two of them. Based on the returns here, so we could see some colors. You can see a little difference, change in colors here. So it almost looks like this long line, as it bows out and outflows out, it just develops. It's just part of physics. You start getting a little rotation like fluid dynamics and spin up. So tornado preparedness. What can we do in Crawford right now and any areas around Beauregard? Start thinking about the lowest level. Don't panic. This is not panic time. This is just being smart and thinking ahead. Interior room or a hallway. Get away from any windows, because any flying debris, branches flying through, that kind of glass flying around could certainly pose a risk and a hazard, as you know. And any mobile homes at this point, until this system gets out of here, I would evacuate and get to your nearest shelter. You know where that is, whether it's your nearest area of your fire department, a neighbor's house, a sturdy structure. If outside, you always seek shelter. Get in a low dip or low-lying area if you know that, obviously. So just a friendly reminder. So Auburn and Beauregard, this is what we call correlation coefficient. It's not really giving us anything here, but what we're looking at is where these circulation areas are. Now, this potentially could be valid. If we were to clean it up with the meteorological human eye here, just outside of Little Texas, we saw some spin up, little weak rotation along that whole boundary that's outflowing out with wind. And in fact, that could be a little weak kind of rotating tornado. You're concerned about that, but I'm concerned about just the broad scale of wind too, because wind is just as menacing and damaging. So if you're in Beauregard right now, as we just showed you, you should be seeking shelter right now immediately. Now I'm going to say that. If you're in Beauregard, keep that in mind. To the south of Beauregard, there's another bit of weak rotation on that too. We'll, as it has it now, it appears to be north of Crawford. But if you're in a Crawford area, northern Russell County, obviously, in extreme southern Lee County, right on that line, I would be thinking about getting a safe spot right now as well, because that is still tracking in your direction. Smith Station, you are still far, far off to the west of that, but start thinking ahead Smith Station too. And we'll wait for Ladonia and Columbus at this point to warrant anything to be concerned about. But if you are in these areas south of Auburn now, Beauregard. So Auburn, let's just give you Auburn kind of, I don't want to say an all clear. Auburn, there's still some strong winds. You shouldn't be outside, and you still hear that off to the west of you. Auburn, I still would just be mindful. Just wait another at least, let's say, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, because there's some areas of circulation along this whole line, which makes it crazy for forecasters here. And Cody's doing a good job of highlighting this for us. But these are areas just to the north and west of Auburn, potential circulation, although we're not seeing real good distinction, but we are just to the west of Beauregard and to the east of Little Texas, and that is moving into the areas out of Macon County in extreme southwest areas here of Lee County, and that would keep it just to the north of Highway 80 coming out of Macon going into Russell County. So if you are south of 85, these are the areas we're looking at now. Let's talk about it. If we were to walk you through it. Beauregard, 8:53 Central Standard Time. That's about when we expect that circulation to be real close to you. Springville just coming up around 9 Central Time. Prince Crossroads taking it right straight up at the top of the hour, and Shotwell too in the same areas. So the tornado warnings
is
here.
Pretty,
yeah, this is starting to look a little bit more impressive now around Wright Crossroads, Cody.
Yeah, that's why I'm zooming in for you.
Yeah, get in there. You could see that. So this is the first time we're seeing something that makes sense here finally. But if you look at the inflow and outflow here, that's looking pretty good. There is definitely some circulation. I don't know if this particular one was the one that they saw a TDS on. And if you want to go back to TDS, because it looked like you had something earlier, and it's not catching up on the scan, of course, unless it's projecting ahead of it, but I doubt it.
They do have the observed tag on this this big tornado warning. So I would assume any one of these rotation couplets, I would take it as it's on the ground.
Okay. So we need to take this here. Oh, look at this. It just came up here right now. But this is well south of Wright's Crossroad. We're looking up here. But, okay, this is looking more impressive now.
Looks like we have two simultaneous.
Two simultaneous right along that line. This is even north of Lochapoka. It looks like a little circulation, and that's north of Highway 14 here in Alabama. So that would be going in an extreme north west portions of Lee County here, north of Auburn. So keep that in mind. Auburn, you still look okay, although you are in that tornado warning, and I still would take it seriously. This whole line could create some damage. So Auburn residents, and I'm going in this direction. Opelika, you're not in this yet. But Auburn, I would start thinking, get central, get smart, and let's stay with us. Just listen to us on this one. And if you're areas south of College Street, and we're getting into the southwest portions of Lee County and Macon County, extreme northeast Macon County, we've got some rural areas here, some farms. And keep that in mind, we do have a potential area here of some circulation headed towards Beauregard. And that, again, is going to continue northwest of Highway 51. And I want to make sure everyone sees that. And that would keep it in the Crawford area northward and eventually maybe excelling all the way back into Smith Station. So if we could keep this up, this is a great shot for street level. Could you literally, let's track north of Lochapoka, and let's go all the way down here, and let's pull it through here, which would include all the way out to Smith Station. Let's see if we keep it at that trajectory. And you're still thinking about 40 miles an hour? How fast?
It's moving at 60. That's what the warning has.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the winds. But
I wanted to add, this system does have history of producing damage. We're starting to get damage reports coming out of Elmore County. So this is where this storm originated, and we're finally getting reports coming in that there are tree limbs, power lines down all across Elmore County, and this is what we're going to expect as it is moving into Lee County. So we are expecting trees to come down, power lines, so you will lose power, so have a backup plan to get tornado warning information, severe weather information. You can catch us online at WRBL.com. If you have a mobile device, you can punch that in, go to our app. We stream there as well, and you can also follow us on our WRBL radar app. But right now, we have two main areas of rotation, one in Lee County, one just in the northern portions of Macon County, and this is where we're really focusing our attention. We have another one up around Lochapoka. So we have these brief spin-up areas, and this is going to move up towards the northeast. You can see Auburn, 854. You may not be directly impacted by a tornado, but you will still get some very strong gusty winds if that rotational couplet moves north of you. The one near just south of the I-85 is going to move just around the Beauregard area, and then the one in northern Macon County is going to move basically south of Beauregard. So this area is, if you are in those areas, you need to be taking your tornado precaution. You should have a safety plan already in place. If not, seek the lowest floor of your home. Evacuate a mobile home. We do have a lot of those across parts of Alabama and Georgia, so you need to be mindful that you should have a sturdy structure and a place of safety to go in the event a tornado. And it looks like we have a gate-to-gate velocity here, just around the Beauregard area. And Drew, if you can keep me up, I'll get on the wall here.
You see that south? I got 4 right there, Cody, and let me track that for you.
right here, this is where we are getting some good inflow velocities, some very strong outbound velocities. That's where we have this very strong couplet. So this is going to be our strongest tornado along that line. We do have another one right here just south of the Beauregard area. So if you're in Beauregard, Bob was moving that for me, 8:56 Central Time, Spring Villa at just 2 minutes after the 9 o'clock hour. Smith Station, where we put you in this, and it is going to be at you at 9:08 a.m. So Beauregard, Spring Villa, you can see 280 here going back to Smith Station, Alabama 169 that takes you from Crawford back up to Opelika. And there you go. You see Bob has all these circled. This right here is our strongest storm, but we need to take all 4 of these very serious because they can and will produce damage. A tornado is a very destructive weather phenomenon, and it is going to produce damage if it is on the ground in the areas of just south of Auburn, approaching, let's see, this is Alabama 51. So if you have a Beauregard address, a Smith Station address, an Auburn or Opelika address, even back up into northern portions of Lee County around the Valley Lynette area that stretches up into northern portions of Lee County here, you need to be in your tornado safe place as well, because this is all moving up towards the north at about 60 miles per hour total as a storm, but each individual tornado couplet here could be moving at its own, very own rate of speed. And as of the new scan, we look like we lost that debris couplet there across portions of Lee County. Here we go. I'm going to get the radar over here. We'll go to...
I got it, Cody.
Let's go to correlation coefficient. Not really indications of debris on these. As we get to correlation coefficient, you can see it's still a little discombobulated here around the Beauregard Wright Crossroads area, Watley Crossroad. But there we go. This looks a little bigger, so this could be an area of concern here. That's where we have the strongest couplet report showing up on velocity. So Beauregard, Spring Villa, Griffin Mill. If you have an Auburn address, I would just say be in your tornado safe spot right now. And here we go with the track on it. Beauregard, 857. Prince Crossroads, 904. So let's go back to velocity, Bob.
And I'll be right there here for you. Let's go back. Here we go.
It looks like we've kind of lost it a little bit. It's not as strong right here around the right crossroads, even here around Beauregard. Now this looks like it's trying to take on that comma appearance, like it's cycled back across central Alabama. Let's go to velocity and kind of back out a little bit. Let's see if...
And we're trying to get, as I'm pulling out over in this area here, you could see even to the south of that. Look at that.
If you're in Chambers County, there is a little area of concern right here around Camp Hill. We'll get to you in a moment, but this is our main area of concern right here in Lee County.
Yeah, let's focus. We'll stay on here with our residents here. Yeah, there's a couple areas. It does look like it's a little bit. You're getting kind of a little muddled look here. We do have. We can go live, and we just want to let people know if this continues in the same track in the Smith Station. We are ready to go live there with our executive producer, Diana Zito's.
What is our Auburn camera looking like? Because we can actually look east from here. Let's see. Got a lot of low clouds here. What direction are we looking here, Drew? Do you know?
I can tell you. That's the central. It looks like you're looking south, and I think is it south and maybe south and east maybe. We want to probably go a little bit more. I don't think if to go west, we'd have to turn it almost to the, because you're east when you're looking at the left side of the front of Jordan Hare Stadium, so you'd have to swing it all the way around to go west, and you could get a little sky shot there.
A lot of damp areas, the heavy rainfall across the area, across parts of Auburn, Opelika.
Cody, the social news nets, I'm trying to get that on there too. Did you see that?
Radar confirmed near Auburn, so that's probably what we were looking at earlier.
Right. So if you can, and they are saying radar, they're still going radar with that.
Well, it says confirmed, so TDS.
TDS, yeah, okay.
And
So-
then they're also working on a tornado warning for around Troy and Pike County.
So we're going even farther. So that's that whole line that we're talking about that has a potential of seeing some weak rotation spinning up on it. Let's get rid of this track for a minute. I'll let you regroup there for a moment there, Cody.
All
There you
right.
go. And as we're pointing out here, even though we're seeing this now, Auburn is right up through here. We're okay, but we still got some areas that could be coming into Chambers County, even north of this. But right now, focus on Lee County here, coming across this area where it seems like we got some kinks along this line. And then it seems to be a very sharp on the velocity, a very sharp line of winds that are coming in. Now, these winds, the way they're coming in, outflowing, almost straight line in a sense, could actually produce some weak spin up right along the actual line itself. But it's the wind, too, with this is what has us a concern because it's such a wide-scale area. We can, just to show you what's going on, just here we are in Beauregard. We're looking at these areas here. And if we track all the way to Smith Station in this warning polygon, let's go live now with Diana Zito. And she's showing us this is how it looks. Kind of calm right now, kind of calm before the storm. And the skies do look rather dark, kind of menacing here. Not much more going on. Diana, what have you experienced this morning besides effects of pretty heavy rain, I assume?
Right now, Bob, it's pretty calm, like you said, but we are starting to see some rain now. It was calm earlier, but we are starting to see the rain pick up a little bit. The winds are picking up a little bit. I don't know if you could tell, kind of a little bit on the tops of the trees.
Yeah, I could see it a
You
little
can
bit,
see
yeah.
the clouds are moving kind of fast, but we are not seeing much. But I am noticing the rain picking up a little bit. We had tornado sirens throughout the area just a few minutes ago. They sounded the sirens out here in Smith Station. So I know people are kind of wondering, if this is heading our way since they were sounding those for a few minutes.
Yes, this line the line is headed your way, so it's good that they sound it. You're getting quite an ample a bit of warning. It's not happening right now to let people know. So you're in Smith Station, you're in areas of extreme eastern Lee County, you're okay, but it is headed your way. And Diana, if we could just keep you on hold here as this continues to move closer to you, and it looks like we got a more impressive areas here we want to show you on the velocity scan what's going on. So we'll get back to Diana when this system gets closer. Here's Opelika now south of there, and we are seeing a nice bit of rotation here. Not a little better couplet that we've seen already, but as this stuff starts to kind of bow out a little bit, you're getting this circulation along this whole line. This is south of Opelika. Highway 280 I'd keep an eye out for, and this area, and I assume this trajectory is still kind of running on a northeast track here, Cody, and I wonder if we could see how much we could track that. Yeah, and it looks like it is.
I would say it's paralleling the interstate.
85, as it typically would have it because of the topography here. Could you kind of pull out on that to kind of give us a little perspective here? Okay, there you go. Where we just went live with Diana, she's down here at the bottom of your screen, even though she's in that, and it's a whole line. She'll be seeing some winds picking up there very shortly. But the actual area that we're concerned about is a potential tornado in Lee County now. Auburn, you're clear. In Opelika, this is to your south, but areas around Chihuahua is all the way back up here to Yarborough is continuing to lift, and it could continue up through Valley and extreme northwest portion of that. This same projected trajectory, if it would continue this way, could go all the way up to Whitesville, exit here off of 185, and even into the Pine Mountain area too, and River Road as it crosses the Georgia line here. So we're going to keep an eye on this because areas just as you see north and kind of east central areas of Lee County certainly under the gun. This is not only great news for Smith Station, but at least the areas here and farther south, it looks like it's kind of everything's tightening up and kind of getting more centralized here along with this circulation as it continues here on the rate of velocity, and it lists north and east. Anything on correlation, let's get real tight on this too. We can't, we'll get a little, it's a little bit there. Perhaps that might be something of substance, and that mimics what the Birmingham National Weather Service is saying here. So what we look at here, this crazy pixelation from Springville, now this is even better yet because we're on areas of, it's hard for me to see. Let me back up. Okay, this is what happens when you get 51 in my eyes. I need some reading glasses. This is Uniroyal Road, and there's 169 Crawford, and there's 51 and Chihuahua. These are the areas here that there could be some debris in the area. That means tree limbs is picking up. this scan is certainly picking up something, and that also is correlating with the National Weather Service is saying too. Opelika, you got some thunder there that just popped up. You see a lightning, but this is all south of you around Crawford Road here, south of Opelika, 51. This area here, Spring Villa. So these are the areas that I would certainly be, you should be hunkered down in your safe spot right now. This puts this track north and west of Smith Station, although Smith Station, you still got the southern portion of this line, and winds are going to pick up, and we may end up seeing some strong winds with that. So that's why Lee County, you're hearing the sirens going off of all areas around Beauregard. You're hearing it, of course, in Smith Station now. So that's well off to your south and east. But right now, the main focus is right here in northeast central Lee County, and that is all around the same road right here from Lee Road all the way back up around Crawford Road. As I told you, Uniroyal Road, if you're in this neighborhood, there's potential debris that could have been with this. Certainly tree limbs flowing around and whatnot. So you could see this all the way through here, the potential risk of some good strong wind gusts here, which is beginning to look like it's getting a little disorganized and disjointed here between the circulation in and out. But there could be broad circulation nonetheless. And even though it weakens in Cody, we've seen this, even as it tightens up, it's like a top. It just weakens and tightens and weakens and tightens. But it's been that way with that whole line. What's happening south now? Let's see in that velocity south of this. And if you're in those areas in north central Lee County, please, you need to be hunkered down right now. Smith Station, you're okay now. You're not seeing the worst part of that. We're seeing very, very heavy rain in Union Springs and all the way back up right along this line. And that will be eventually moving into, it's all into western Russell County now. And torrential rain, mind you. So Fort Mitchell, you should be prepared for some strong winds, possible damage with this. And going into Fort Benning and eventually going into Chattahoochee County, and we get into Stewart counties as well from Omaha and all northwest of Richland. Smith Station southward could still have some strong winds with this as well, so be mindful of that. And go back to the track. I'm sorry, I didn't even read the times on that. Give those people a track time on that. But you could see this whole line. If it continues like this, we'll draw it in, pull it out. And if you're in Columbus, at least 1021, and that's less than 20 minutes away. Omaha will go to Stewart County in Georgia. Watch for potential damaging winds. Take it to Casita, 35 minutes after the hour and 50 minutes after the hour, almost up to 11 o'clock or just before then, I would say, at the rate that this is moving. Could bring in even Fort Benning included in this, and Columbus. I'm leaving Columbus and Phoenix City. I don't mean leave you guys out in Crawford, but obviously you guys are in that as well. Midland, Georgia, all the way up to Harris County too. So what we'll do now is we'll go back up to Lee County. And we'll see what we have over here over in Lee County. We're assessing a few things here from Cody's getting some good reports here to keep us updated too. So what we're looking at here on this radar map is certainly a couple areas of concern. We have the tornado warning that is extreme. It's an area that's quite large from Chambers, Lee counties, and the areas in this is because we're seeing rotation that has been spotted on again, off again along the line of showers and storms. It looks a bit fragmented, but we have seen some areas of concern in this area. So let's go right into what we call the velocity again and show you this latest scan and see if we see anything that's starting to develop again. Okay, so it seems to be weakening considerably. That's some good news. But I would still, if you're in Beans Mill areas here, I would still, and in fact, I hate to do such a broad analysis, but these would be the areas. Let's just take it from here. And it appears now like it's kind of running right along, as you said, at corridor 85. And we'll take it right up to the Georgia line. But these areas around Wacoochee Valley, in Yarborough and in Powledge areas all the way through central time zones, quarter after the hour, 9 o'clock local time here in central time. And these are all north and east of Opelika. So who's in the clear now, just to let you know, so we don't have to be hunkered down. The areas of Lochapoka now, I don't know why they have this one morning here and whether or not they just expired, but that's till 9:45 local time, and we still got some time there, folks. But I'm still trying to figure that out. Let's put some radar on here. I think maybe
we have some new information from our very own Mercer Van Chor. She's up in LaGrange, and she has confirmed with the Troup County Sheriff that that he actually saw rotation in the trees in the area of Grayson Landing and the New Franklin Road area. And there's also been a report that I-85 had a tree down in the northbound lane as that storm moved through earlier across parts of Troup County and LaGrange. He also says Callaway Church Road is blocked by trees and power lines. Mercer will be there. Hopefully we can get another FaceTime interview with her as she gets to that area. But there is reports of some trees down with that storm that I think we saw about maybe an hour ago up around LaGrange and Troup County. But there's also another area of concern around Troy. This is where we are getting another appendage, and it's right around the city of Troy in the area of Pike County, just off towards the west there around, that's US 29, and there's that going to be that area of concern. I believe this is coming off of the Fort Rucker radar, correct?
Yes, it is, yes.
So the radar is going to be down that way, so this is where we're getting these inbound velocities, outbound velocities, and that's where we're getting the spin and the rotation in the air. So between Youngblood and Troy, if you actually are in the city of Troy, I would go ahead and get into a tornado safe spot. If you are in Barber County here, you need to be a heads up because this could eventually move into Barber County, but right now it's in Pike County and Troy. Technically out of our viewing area, but we do still get some people down here in Troy, Brundage, Banks, but this is going to be on that track right through Troy, northern parts of Pike County, may even trip Bullock County here, and then into Barber County. I believe it's on a northeastern track there, Bob.
Yeah, and looking at Troy and Brundage, these areas here in Clio, all the way down to Louisville and Oatsonton, these are areas in southern Barber County. You guys right now are okay, but you need to be watchful. Stay with us here. Eufaula, you're still kind of very out or limits here, and our friends in Eufaula I know are concerned. Just stay tuned. You got some time. This looks like this could be farther south of you, but just stay with us. This is still well out of your area. So Eufaula, if you begin to hear any sirens, there's nothing in there right now, but it's something we want to keep an eye out for. As we're looking at this, and Cody, we're looking at that as well, let's head back up to Lee County, and we'll get back down to our friends down in Pike and more Barber County is what I was concerned about to see that, because we have a lot of viewers down there. We have an outage map here I want to show you. A lot of folks are seeing power outages right now, and you can see the extent of this. So we go up to LaGrange where Mercer Van Schoer went live with us earlier, and we saw the winds, and she said there were some reports and official reports of some spotters who actually did see tree limbs that were looked like they appeared to be rotating or being debris that was thrown about in the air. So these areas have some power outages. We're looking at maybe 5 or so customers affected in this area, but that's some good news with this. Let's get a little closer to Columbus. Power outage here, and looking at some 8 customers here, and they're aware of the outages, and let Georgia Power get to it. If you ever see any down lines, never go near them. Call Georgia Power, call emergency officials first. Never time that. This is Woodhull Drive in Columbus, so that's what we're looking at. So we get down in the map, so if you're wondering about anybody affected in this area here, you can see Carver Park and Bryan Lake Boulevard in LaGrange. We're looking at Troup Counter. Thank you, Jolynn. That's Woodhull Drive right here is what we're talking about in the areas around southeast Columbus. So that's what we're looking at, East Columbus. So if there is any power lines down, I don't even know if that was from maybe a trip from the early morning winds or it's just something we didn't see anything directly related, but there were thunderstorms this morning, so it's possible a limb fell down on a power line. So 85 here up at Troup County, as Jolene just pointed out to us. She's keeping us updated here. We're looking at areas of Bryant.
Bob, I hate to cut you off, but we're starting to get a rotational couplet around Crawford.
Let's go back up to velocity then. Bing, there you go. Okay, go ahead.
Right here is where we're starting to get a circulation between Prince Crossroads and Crawford. A little indentation there. So another brief spin up along this line across southern Lee County, even portions of northern Russell. Although you're technically not in a warning in Russell County, just take those tornado precautions. Crawford, Phoenix City, even there in Kaolin and Ladonia, Smith Station. Tornado precautions now. That earlier circulation moved up towards your north, but this one could impact you as it continues to move out towards the northeast.
It's just on that line, Cody, and as we were saying, Crawford, yeah, you definitely want to take shelter now. Here's the interesting thing about this. Just because you're not in a tornado polygon doesn't mean a tornado warning can't occur south or west or north of it. That's just the best analysis at that juncture, and with this kind of loose bit of what Mother Nature's doing to us today. Quick spin-up tornado disappears, and we're sitting here waiting for the next one because we have to stay on air here because we know another one's going to probably pop up like this. It certainly could pose a risk. There's that latest scan now off to the east. So, Cody, when I add that to there now, and you can see how fast you can't keep up with this darn thing. It's moving fast. So let's go to Smith. And this is the thing now. Now, even though we weren't downplaying Smith Station, now Smith Station, we're looking at the southern edge of this wind. And as it bows out here, as it flows out, Ladonia, Monterey Heights, Smith Station should now start thinking of a safe spot. My producer that's out here shooting us, I want her to be careful. I don't want you putting yourself in harm's way. Even though this may be coming south of you, just be mindful that we don't want you to be in an area that puts you in harm's way. Just get in your safe spot and tell us what you're hearing. But
now we have a TDS on it.
Okay, let's go down to correlation coefficient now.
Based upon NWS.
Okay, well, you know, okay, it looks that way. I guess if you now we know where it is. There's some thunder associated right along that rotation and circulation.
It's going to be somewhere right there.
Yep, right there. So this is what we see, some debris signature. It looks like to the north and west is probably the best debris signature right up through here. Tree limbs, whatever it could be, any kind of debris it picks up. The radar is picking that up south of Prince Crossroads. So technology is just wonderful at our hands here, but it's hard for an average viewer to discern. But we're trying to tell you here, that little debris looks like it's probably back through here. That's the latest scan. It still has it maybe a little off to the north and west a little bit too. So if you are in, and we'll do a track on this. Let's go back to that track. There's Smith Station, Green Island Hills. We got even North Columbus too. I'm almost wondering, is it that sharp of a northeast kind of, do you think, trajectory, or is that, and I'm not being, I'm just trying to see what that is as it continues. Yeah, it kind of looks like it is. Wonder if you take it, Cody, let's just to be safe, because this doggone thing keeps spinning up ones north and south. Yeah, take that whole line there and let's broaden it out. Just to get people, this doesn't mean to panic, but I would say if you're in Smith Station, Monterey Heights now, and Ladonia, just to be safe, get into your safe spot as we speak. And then we'll take you live and show you what's going on there in just a moment in a safe way. But this is, again, southeast Lee County. We have Skywatcher Donna Worthy in here. I'm sure she'll keep us updated. We have executive producer Diana Zito. She's up in here, too. And Monterey Heights, so we'll get you covered here. We had Mercer Van Shore live up at Troup. Now we're live down here. So we got you covered, the news team and First Alert Weather, showing you what's going on. Does it continue into northern Muskogee County? Okay, that's the big million-dollar question here.
There is a severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued for Muskogee County.
Bingo. So they are taking this seriously, this whole line. It makes sense. Just to be safe than sorry. You just can't keep issuing a warning and dropping it, putting it on with the situation. It's going to keep ebbing and flowing like this. So you get this outflow, and then you get weak spin up. So little bit of street level on this little baby here. If we can get a little closer on this, and we'll get you something. And then we'll take you live in a minute to show you at the same time what's going on. Okay, we get a little closer. Lee Road, let's get a little closer. If you're in the Lee Road 240 area, right here is Lee Road 240. This is all east of Moffitt's Mill. If you're in Moffitt's Mill, you're okay right now. If you're in Lee Road 240, east of Lee Road 240, you should be seeking shelter. Get even closer to these neighborhoods, Cody. You're doing great. Let's just see some of these roads in here, and if we click at some, as we can see who should be taking shelter.
There
okay,
we go.
Perfect. Okay, Lee Road 242. If you're in Lee Road 248 area, Lee Road 217, Lee Road 2, that is I got to step out of here, 235. Rattle those off for me because my eyes.
Lee Road
are embarrassing.
298, Lee Road 960. I think you said Lee Road 242 already. Basically, if you have a Smith Station address, be in your tornado safe area.
Good move. And speaking about being tornado safe right now, why not? We'll just we're going to keep it posted. We're going to go live and keep folks updated what's going on in that area. So you could see right along that line, so Lee Road 240, it's just to your west right now. You should be in your central part here, outside of the greater, I call it the greater Smith Station area here. And again, moving off towards the north and east rapidly. So Smith Station, Monterey Heights, all the way through this area here, Lee Road, all the way back down to almost, I want to say, it looks like even areas around Stafford Road. It should be Sanford Road. I've never heard of Stafford. Is it Stafford Road? It looks like
it says Stafford Road.
I guess it is. I'm thinking Sanford Road is a little bit farther south. But we get into the Phoenix City area. You still got the potential. Columbus, you are all under a severe thunderstorm warning, and it isn't happening now. It's just a preparation for Columbus. Now, you're hearing sirens if you are or not. Don't panic. It just isn't there yet. It's just a heads up, guys. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning because we're worried about damaging winds associated with this line. And again, with a severe thunderstorm warning, as we've been seeing, they can cause some weak spin-up tornadoes. Why not go live right now in Smith Station? Everyone in Smith Station right now, and this would be south and west of this downtown area, Smith Station, should be in a safe spot. Executive producer Diana Zito giving us the latest look. Diana, what are you feeling? What are you experiencing out there?
Hey Bob, I'm out on Beach Road 379. That's the road with the lead market. Provide the Marathon gas station at 280. We're getting a lot of thunder and lightning out here. The rain is definitely picking up. Still not seeing a whole lot of heavy wind right now, but the rain is picking up significantly. I do see a lot of the clouds are moving pretty fast. You probably can't tell from the video, but we're I don't know if you can hear it or smell that flash lightning, but the rain is really starting to pick up. Now I'm starting to see a little bit of movement in the trees. Woo, hear that thunder?
I can't. Well, be careful. And I want you to be careful.
I'm in a safe place right now.
Good. You're doing the right thing,
Really
but
pouring now, actually.
you don't want to be in a car, Diana. That's the one thing I want to tell you.
It's starting to downpour, Bob. I'm probably going to go in a safe place now.
Okay, good move. I want you to do that. Keep us posted. Don't get in harm's way because we've got to practice what we preach here, Diana. Okay? So good job. Thank you for showing us Get the Update. But as Diana's saying, she's seen the leading edge of this. When the rain starts to get heavy here is what we're tracking now. Right here, you can see how it's really bowing out on the velocity. That's wind. That's some wind. And we have rotation just south of Smith Station right now, albeit very, very broad. That could be associated certainly with some damaging wind. Now, going into the extended portion just east of Smith Station, going into Green Island Country Club, Green Island Hills, North Columbus. This is the northern part, north of J.R. Allen Parkway, especially southern Harris County. That would include Midland, and perhaps even into Ellerslie. With the same line, expect a potential threat of damaging wind and maybe a weak spin-up tornado. Right now, what we're looking at with this in particular, Phoenix City, Columbus, you're all in this. The reason why there's a severe thunderstorm warning is because this is coming your way, and it's moving fast, and we don't have time to discern. It's giving you a heads up for that potential risk. Our producer, Jolyn, right there, thank you very much. Doing a good job. Hannah is just helping us out and freeing up my hands. So here we are looking at this living north and east. So everybody from Ellerslie, East Columbus, Northeast Columbus, right off of Macon Road, dead smack center, Phoenix City, even portions of South Columbus and north areas of Fort Benning should all be prepared for some strong, damaging winds and to emphasize that risk of a little spin-up tornado that's been occurring along this line. It's pretty broad south of Smith Station. Waiting for that next volumetric scan here, and it seems like a slow poking here on me. But I wanted to see what it does here and see how fast this is moving. So that would eventually have it north and east of here. Now, Diana Zito, who was just on the phone with us live, she did get in her safe spot. Good move. And she knows exactly where she is because she has radar following with us. So she's in her safe spot. She'll report to us when this passes by. But again, in this particular area, it appears to be some broad circulation and the fact that this is all lifting north and east. Now, anybody in the severe thunderstorm warning area just means just that severe thunderstorm winds or capable of winds along this entire line. Not very local. This entire line could produce some damaging winds. So therefore, the severe thunderstorm warning has been issued. So let's talk about times here. Phoenix City, and here we are now, 21 minutes after the hour. You should be hunkered down right now. Columbus coming up just a couple minutes right after that, so I'd take it the same way within the next 5 minutes. Flat Rock could take us to the bottom of the hour, which is 9 minutes from now. Ellerslie, at the same line, continuing on this trajectory in Harris County, would take it to about 36 after the hour. And Osahatchee, too, that's going back in terms of 165 south, too. That could take us into that same area a little bit later. So the tornado warning polygon exiting on the northeast areas of Lee County. I would say it's safe to say that if you're west of this now, you're okay. Auburn, you're good. I just want all our residents in Notasaga, you're good, you're good, you're good. It's moderate to light rain through there. But be mindful, if there has been any damage, I would not encourage anybody to go out there to get close to power lines, anything like that. Do not let a hazard create something that could be bad for you. So call officials if you have to do that. So we are focused on this line now. Cody coming up through there, and thank you. Cody's keeping us updated on social media right now. Thank you, Cody. I'll let you kind of give us an analysis here. And again, interesting south of we got that little Smith Station, but that's really what we're looking at is right. Get a little closer here, a little more street level. Get you set up here. We're right through this area. So Anywhere around Highway 280, Monterey Heights, going around Lee Road, 248, you should be getting in your safe spot right now as we get closer and closer to Green Island Hills. And Green Island Hills, you should be getting in your safe spot right now. Just be prepared for the fact that there could be some strong damaging winds with this. Cody.
That is right. Now, with that circulation extending to the southern edge of this is where we could get some very strong gusty winds moving into the city of Columbus right now. Phoenix City, Ladonia, Bibb City, parts of Green Island Hills, Flat Rock, Midland. Be prepared for strong gusty winds, and you can also see a brief tornado like Smith Station is possibly seeing on the northern flank of this. It is basically like a comma head, and that's where the rotation is, and the trailing damaging wind is that sharp gradient between the red and the green there on your on the screen. I'll put it in the precipitation mode, and basically extending from Smith Station just before Phoenix City is where we have that strong gusty winds. This is where we're going to get the gusty strong winds going to come right from the top of the thunderstorm out through the bottom, and that's where you get that gusty wind associated with a strong thunderstorm. So Smith Station, that's where we have that comma head up right here around 280. This is going to move over the Chattahoochee River into northern parts of Columbus. So Green Island Hills, Fortson, Catawba, parts of Ellerslie, Waverly Hall is going to be affected by the northernmost part of this storm. Stronger gusty winds is going to be on the southern fringe of this, moving into Phoenix City, Columbus, Fort Benning, the southern parts of Columbus here. So 431 travel is probably a headache. I don't advise you being out on the road or going out on the road right now. It is almost 10:30 here Eastern time, so 9:30 Central across the Chattahoochee Valley. So we still have an ongoing tornado warning for that is Lee County. We do have another area, and we actually have one for Barber now.
Here, they're already preparing for.
And this is going to be right off of this little notch right here. I don't even need velocity to tell me where this is at. You have nice inflow, getting that where you get that little wraparound, and that's where this tornado is coming. You get the other southern edge of this, excuse me, right there, just along. I'm not familiar with what road this is.
Let's get
going to be maybe 29.
Yeah,
US
I think
Highway 29.
Yep.
It takes you from Troy through Brundage. So Buckhorn right here is the most area, or the right there. Go up a little bit, Bob.
Right here.
Right there. Alabama 130. Actually, let's go to velocity and actually see where this storm is at.
Yeah, it's better yet, Buckhorn.
Right there.
Yeah, let's get in here.
Right there is where we have that area of strong rotation. It's not gate to gate or very tight. It is strong though. As we get an update here, you see it broadens a little bit, and like the Smith Station storm, kind of like a comma. This is where we're getting that strong rotation and then some strong gusty winds out on the southern edge of that storm. And here we have a storm track. Nothing showing up, so this is rural areas of Barber County and rural areas of Pike County. But if you are familiar with Buckhorn, I would even say Clayton. If you have a Clayton address in Barber County, Louisville, is at Baxter's, Pratt's, Clayton. If you have an address of these communities, you need to be in your tornado safe spot. And this tornado warning goes until 10:30 Central Time, so 11:30 Eastern Time. But the warning does include the city of Eufaula, but this warning is all across the county, so it does have a ways to go before it gets to Eufaula there. But area of concern is back in Troy. And actually, let's get back up to Columbus as this line is moving into the city right now.
Yeah, we're going to look at this now. You know, it's funny. It's good to be prudent. I think it's good that they're taking the approach they are, Cody. There it is right here. I'll get you kind of zoomed in over there on that side, because it's the rapid rate of how fast this is moving, number one. Smith Station is clear now, by the way. If anyone's in Smith's, Monterey Heights, you guys are okay. A lot of rain. Stay clear. If you see any damage, remember to call officials, call Georgia Power. We don't want anyone out there. And we'll see if we can go live there in just a bit, too. We can kind of assess what's going on, what was going on south of Smith Station. But it is this kind of Boeing effect out of this whole line has proved to be kind of a nuisance in terms of a wide area. And it isn't, one may think it's premature to issue this warning, but it's certainly a smart thing. Go ahead.
Well, we had our Skycam up here on the big screen, and
go
it
to
was basically zero visibility with how heavy the rainfall is.
Oh, there he is. Yeah, and that's the torrential rain. You can't even see across the river. So as Cody pointed out, here's the Phoenix City side. Here's the trees we're looking at here, and that's across the river where you see the lights there. Barely seeing the lights, I should say. So that's what we're looking at right now. So you can see how the clouds are so low, and this is the kind of energy we're talking about here. So a tremendous amount of moisture, which leads to back to the radar, the potential threat right here of seeing some possibility of flash flooding again, because here's just round one of what we're talking about this weekend. Round 2 coming in later tonight, and then we get into round 3 coming in tomorrow afternoon, and we're still on schedule with that, and if that changes, we'll tell you. So these grounds that you're seeing now around Smith Station, North Columbus, are saturated. Let's get right into North Columbus. I'm going to show you what's going on there and let people know we got some thunder now popping up just outside of Phoenix City, into areas just south of Smith Station, leaving Lee County now, coming into Muskogee County, right in this area here. Okay, so areas around Green Island Hills, you're already seeing probably the worst part of this coming through based on this last scan of radar. And that means just off to the east Green Island Hills, off of River Road here, now moving towards North Columbus and to areas around Lincoln Hills all the way through here. There's Columbus, Georgia, downtown, uptown, midtown, Winton Road. In Bibb City, this is areas here just getting outside of downtown. Phoenix City, torrential heavy rain, as you just saw on our Phoenix City amphitheater camera. That's what you're looking at when you see this dark red here. That's just heavy rain right now. No hail with this, as far as I know, and there's a severe thunderstorm warning because of the wind nature of this, the damaging wind potential. Not a lot of thunder, although we just saw a flash of lightning here. All these little dots do indicate within here, if people are watching this, we made it small, we minimized it, and we can even increase the size of it, but it's just kind of obstructive. But there's been lightning all across here within the last, I think it's 15 minutes of data. It's 15 minutes, I think we said it at Cody. But then you have the flash that comes on, so you've seen an occasional, every 15 minutes, a good rumble of thunder, but it's the wind and the nature of how this is bowing out coming in, and therefore Flat Rock, Chautauqua Road area, East Columbus should just be indoors right now. I should be playing it safe. These do have a capability. Severe thunderstorm warnings can mean, too, they could produce some weak spin-up tornadoes, and that's what Peachtree City's taking it more in this respect. And it's kind of northwest of Interstate 85 and, should I say, J.R. Allen Parkway, which is farther down, and of course, Macon Road. So you're getting north of J.R. Allen Parkway. You're getting outside of Green Island Hills now and going east there. We can go to the 13th Street Bridge. Let me show you how this looks like. Give us a second here. There you go. Now, this is looking towards Columbus. My back is to Phoenix City like this. That's Columbus, Georgia, and you can see how obstructed this is. This is our Eagle Phoenix camera live. In this live